Hey, welcome back to the Renaissance Woodworker and welcome to my shop. This is my shop update. I gotta admit, there hasn't been a lot going on in the shop this week. Since I got back from Maine, I've been mostly just kind of reorganizing the shop, kind of getting caught back up, mostly on work and a lot of email type stuff. But 4th of July weekend is here. For those of you in the States, happy 4th of July. And it turns out I'm going to have a little bit of an extended weekend with Monday off from work as well. So I'm looking forward to a 4-day weekend, and I'm in here sharpening up all of my spoon carving tools because I've got a hunk of sycamore log out back that's just begging to be turned into some spoons. I've been wanting to kind of get back into it. I've only carved, I think, maybe 4 spoons total. Not very good at it yet. I've got one started right here that I really need to put some more work into, but it's dried out a lot. So I think I'm gonna split out a couple new pieces from that and do some more spoon carving. So I've got my Sloyd knife here. I've got a hook knife, well, 2 hook knives, and just getting them sharpened up and ready for the weekend. I'm hoping to spend some time in the backyard with the barbecue and a Sloyd knife and some sycamore. So really looking forward to that. And I hope those of you in the States, heck, anywhere in the world, the weekend's coming. I hope you can get some woodworking time in. But I wanted to show you a few things that have shown up in the shop in the last week to kind of tease you a little bit of some things to come. This has actually been here a while. This is a little dovetail saw made by Bearcat Woodworks. It's just a short little thing, and I was kind of excited to see this because lately I've been going the other direction and going with much longer 12-inch dovetail saws. This little guy is very finely pitched as well, and I found it to be incredibly useful as I was doing some overlay half-blind dovetails recently. So it's really the only time I've had a chance to play around with it, but so far the fit of the handle's great. The hang of the saw is perfect for dovetailing work. It's got a nice angle to it. It's sharpened immaculately. So excellent work from Bearcat Woodworks. You'll be certain to see more of this, and I'll do more of a formal review once I've had a little bit more time working with it. Next is a new sharpening system, I guess, from Sean Graham over at Worth the Effort Woodworking. Sean has put together this aluminum plate. He told me what it is. It's some fancy 6061 T6 aluminum. It's a very high-tech aluminum that's incredibly durable, very stable, yet also very light and scratch resistant. It's the type of thing where if you drop it on the floor and it dents, you can just clean it up with a file real easily. But he's got this machined, like super flat, way flatter than any woodwork will ever need. This surface here, it's got a hole to kind of put around a dog so you can hold it on your bench. And he provides it with 2 grits of sandpaper. A 15 micron, about 1,000 grit, and then some other micron, which is about 9,000 grit. So essentially, it's an aluminum scary sharp platform, but it's a highly refined one at that. He's cut a groove down the middle so you can use 1/3 of a typical sheet of sandpaper, so putting the 1,000 grit on one side and the 9,000 grit on the other. He's got a rounded edge on the bottom so you can wrap the sandpaper around it, and this is fantastic for getting into the inside bevels of gouges and turning tools or even spoon knives. He also includes a big piece of leather that you can glue to the back and turn the back of this into a strop. So this is a prototype that he sent me, the production one. There's a video actually on Sean's YouTube channel about this. Production one has a few other cool features like bevel setting angles and things like that. But he's got it listed as the Worth the Effort Convenient Sharpening. And the more I look at this, the more kind of excited I am about it. Having just gotten back from Maine and taking my strop and a sharpening stone, this is really an all-in-one package. You've got 1,000 grit, 9,000 grit, and whatever grit strop. You can pretty much do all the maintenance on your tools. The only thing you would need for your sharpening regimen would be a grinder every now and then if you really damage or have to completely reset a bevel angle. All of your maintenance, honing, and stropping can be done on this precision aluminum plate. You can mount it on a dog hole on your bench, or you can hang it to the wall, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm gonna glue the sandpaper in place, I'm gonna glue the leather onto the back, and you're gonna see me using this probably for the next couple of months to really get a feel for it. So look to hear some more from that in the future. So I do have a question from Richard that I want to address this week. He's been looking into buying chisels, and he's looking at a couple different brands that he really likes. The brand that he's decided on, unfortunately, he can't get it in the sizes that he was looking for, the imperial sizes he was looking for. It's all out of stock, apparently will be for some time. But he's like, I don't want to wait, I really want Chisels. The secondary brand he was looking at, he can only get it in metric. And he said, well, what do I do? If I went with a metric chisel, am I going to be locked into metric? If I go with imperial and decide to switch later, I'm going to be locked into things. And I wanted to address this question because at face value, it may seem like we'll just pick a system, imperial or metric, and go with it. But it shocked me at first because I thought, I don't think it matters. My initial gut reaction was, I don't know, whatever size you need. And this brings up the point of slaving your tooling to the work that you do. So I have quite a few chisels over here. I've got almost a complete set of Lie-Nielsen, blue spruce, some Ray Isles, and then a bunch of different vintage ones along with some modern blue spruce tools. The vintage ones specifically, I couldn't tell you what their sizes are. None of them really work out to some nice round imperial number. They don't really work out to a nice round metric number either. But the key is, if I'm going to cut, say, a mortise, I grab my mortise chisel and I lay out the mortise using the chisel itself. This happens to be a 1/4 inch chisel, but it could be a 5mm chisel. It could be a 37/64 inch chisel. I would lay it out, I would set my mortising gauge to the chisel itself, lay out my mortise, lay out my tenon with all this, and slave everything to the actual size of the part. So in this particular case, if you had an imperial, metric, or Klingon, it doesn't matter. Slave all of your work from there. The same thing would apply to things like plow planes. You can get all kinds of different blades for your modern plow, or if you have a vintage wooden plow, you can get a bunch of different blades there. And especially in the vintage one, you may find that they've been ground a little funny and it's not quite a 1/4 inch, not quite 3/8 of an inch. It doesn't really matter. You plow your groove in, say, a drawer bottom with what, maybe looks like a 1/4 of an inch or close to a 1/4 of an inch, and then you size the drawer panel that goes into that to match that groove. The size is completely irrelevant as long as you recognize that I need to match this groove or match this dado or match that mortise to whatever tool you have. So taking this one step further, if you're about to approach a project and you're thinking, man, I really wish I had tool X because I don't have the right size for the project that's coming up, don't let that stop you. Use whatever tool you have. Say it's a mortise chisel. Use whatever mortise chisel you have and set all your joinery from there. So Richard, I hope that helps you. It's a little bit of a sidestep to your answer. What I really think you should do is choose the brand of chisel that you're most excited about and don't worry about the sizes. Make all of your work match to the sizes that you need. Now, one last thing, next week is the first week of the month, so I'm going to be doing a Renaissance Woodworker Live. So next Thursday night, July 6th, at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'll fire up the live stream and I'm going to do an open Q&A. Call it an Ask Me Anything. I've approached several very specific topics over the last couple of months. There's always been some random questions in the chat room that I maybe haven't had time to answer, or it's been too outside the scope of what I was talking about. So next week, Ask Me Anything. Show up from 9 to 10 p.m. and I will answer any questions you can, do some demonstrations if necessary, and it should be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you next week. If you're in the US, happy 4th of July weekend. If you're Canadian, happy Canada Day. I think that's tomorrow when you're watching this. If you're in the rest of the world, happy weekend. Get out there and get some woodworking done. We'll see you next week.